a little bit about myself and the great opportunities that are out there working in the digital arts field. So I've been designing for many, many years, and I've done everything from graphic design to illustration to work in animation and games. So why don't we start going through the slides and we'll talk a little bit as we go on.
Great, thank you so much.
So if you don't know exactly what digital design is, I mean, digital design is digital arts. Just about everything we do anymore is digital. It's really a way of communicating your ideas, and digital is how we do it these days. The mediums change and the professions really vary, and sometimes there's a lot of overlap. So we look at ideas like graphic design, interactive design, animation, game design, and web design are all part of this big field. And when you look at job ads, you might even see many different titles. But really, one of the things that's important is getting a good core foundation in the elements and principles of design and really be able to articulate your ideas. Let's go on to the next slide. So in this course, we're going to look at different mediums. We're going to look at how you'll use text and graphic images, photos, video, animation. We'll delve a little bit into game and web, but not a lot. And then, the different formats, print, web, motion design. There's so much overlap anymore in working in these careers, and you think about interactive design, everything that involves. That involves everything from a product to a PDF to creating an app. The next slide. So the expanding range of careers it's constantly moving in these fields, and that's what's exciting, and that's why getting a good foundation in design and really being able to get your ideas out and explain them to people really puts you in the forefront of the career movement right now. I mean, you hear design talked about, design thinking, design as a problem-solving process. It's really an important part of our entire culture now. So some of the job titles you might see are graphic designer, illustrator, art director, marketing. Again, we talk a little about interactive, and a big area is social media designer. You'll see all kinds of jobs out there: social media strategist, social media marketer, and web designer and programmer obviously are moving into the app and interactive space, and then animation and visual effects. All move across the spectrum from web to film to games. It's an exciting time to be a designer. Next slide. And I think we're a fairly small group today, so I believe there's a chat area or an area for questions. So if anyone has any, please feel free to step in and we can address any issues or any ideas you have along the way. So you've heard me say the elements and principles of design. These are the foundation that design stands on, visual design particularly. And that this course is going to be an important look at that. But really that's the concrete that holds the building up. Without that, you've just got sand, the whole foundation shifts. So you need to have a good foundation in the elements and principles of design. And storytelling is another word you hear a lot. Storytelling is really how we perceive images and film. When you think about advertising and graphic design and you see a really great poster and it really you feel compelled to read it and look at it, well, you're finding out the story. What's there? What did the designer want you to see, want you to read? What did they want you to walk away with? And this is the ability to communicate ideas. And we talk about communicating ideas. Now we have so many different ways. We're not just limited to print, which is very exciting. And again, problem solving, always part of the design process. And because we work digitally, there's a strong focus in technical skills anymore. Those are just the tools that everybody uses. I mean, you hear people say Photoshopped. Well, when a software package becomes a verb, things are changing. Move on to the next slide. So a good designer, I'd say probably the most important quality of a good designer is curiosity. I think that makes a great artist, a great designer, and a great creator. You really have to be interested in things, particularly now when we live in a culture of lifelong learning. I mean, it's important to like challenges because every new project is a challenge. And when we talk about empathy, we talk about personas and understanding the audience that you're designing for. Things are constantly changing in our world. As we know it, technology's really moved us forward quite fast, so you really have to like change and like learning and be curious. And something that's important in all creative classes is critique. And that's the ability to objectively look at your work and others and give constructive feedback. So we'll move on. So there's many different areas where designers can work anymore. There's a lot of small companies. Here in San Diego, we have a very active interactive design community, which is exciting. Big corporations have departments. I've worked in high tech for big software companies, and they have specialized departments that cover everything from marketing to interactive design. Small agencies, and then of course things like consultants, freelancing, and entrepreneurs. I have a student that just took on a part-time job with a really interesting project that's working with animals and sensors and health. So you think of it kind of like a Fitbit or a Jawbone for your animals. So there's all kinds of exciting things going on in this space. Next slide. So if you really want to understand the profession, I think it's very important to do research and really look at what design agencies and what they're doing, really understand what a good portfolio is. There's great places to look at entrepreneur projects. I mean, I'm sure we've all watched TED Talks. The makerspace is really an exciting area, and sort of an outcome of something like the makerspace is Etsy, where, you know, you have an idea, you make a product, and you can sign up and you can put it on Etsy and see if people want to buy it. I've even tried that. It's really a lot of fun. Amazon Marketplace. And then it's really important anymore to be involved in organizations and network. There's things like the AIGA, the International Game Developers, the Ad Club, but some of them are regional. There's meetups, there's user groups. All of this is really an important part of your ongoing career, and I always encourage my students to be as active as possible in this area. Next slide. So how can Pearl Live help you? Well, the Professional Certificate in Digital Design and Communication, which I've worked on, I think that this is a really, really exciting certificate, and anyone enrolled in this program is going to learn an incredible amount of information that will help them launch their career or pursue their education further in this area. Next slide. So the great thing about online learning is it's flexible, anywhere, anytime. For people that are working or taking other classes or busy with just life in general. The exciting thing about Laureate's the global classroom, that really you get to share your ideas in an area with people from many different backgrounds. And this is how we work anymore in the real world. You can be on the phone with people all over the world on conference calls with people remote. So this is great training for really getting out there and being involved in the workplace. Enhancing your creative skill set, obviously this maximizes your advancement potential. I mean, learning those tools, learning how to articulate your ideas, these are all really helpful. And really good faculty, industry professionals that are educating and come to the online classroom to share their experiences with you. And as an outcome of this, obviously, you'll walk away with a great e-portfolio to show people what you've learned. Next slide. So some of the subject matters subject matter experts working with us. Obviously my picture's there again, and then we have Joanne Lush. She's from the Media Design School in Auckland, New Zealand, and an incredible designer working in both the print and web area. Underneath her we have Sandeep Kulkarni, who comes to the online program teaching through working at New School of Architecture and Design, and Sandeep has a background in film and animation, has worked on movies like Transformers, and really, really knowledgeable in the animation space. Next we have Asa Enox, who is an indie game developer and concept artist with a strong background in visual design. And Chris Clark with the glasses on in the tech shirt up there. Chris is active graphic designer, creative director, and copywriter. He works in our graphic design program teaching and has lots of great information to share with you. Slide. So programs of study, this course involves a basic course in exploring visual design, and then we get serious with visual thinking and graphic design, where you learn about those things like foundation and really studying the elements and principles of design, the history of graphic design, all those things I talked about that build the foundation. Then moving through to designing online experiences, wrapping your head around HTML, CSS, what does it take to design an app. And a course that I'm really excited about is 3D tools, trends, and techniques. So this really looks at the overall view of what does the word 3D mean in our culture now. I mean, it's not just animation and games, it's 3D printing, it's stereoscopy, it's all kinds of things. And how do these things work together? Augmented reality. This is an interesting space right now that's affecting all of us. And then video and motion design. And we know we all perceive things through video anymore. I mean, learning everything. And motion graphics is a huge area. And if you're not familiar with that, just turn on your television and all those title sequences. You go see a movie and you see a trailer. Well, that involves everything with motion design. Next slide. So the types of learning activities and projects that go on in these classes, obviously collaborative discussions with interesting people around the world, keeping a personal design journal, this is very important. You'll work on projects like creating a logo, understand what terms like wireframe mean when we refer to webs and website design and apps. You'll get your hands in the water here working with making basic web pages and learning about publishing your own blog. You'll get some basic 3D in these classes also, where you'll learn a little bit about modeling, lighting, and texturing, and even creating a simple product in 3D. You know, and a little information about 3D printing. Maybe you'll actually want to do something and get it printed. There'll be some graphics and animation, and obviously learning a little bit about video editing. And last but not least, storyboarding is an important part of everything. Even when you're talking about web and app development, you know, you storyboard your users, you know, your user flow. So this is a very interesting and complete class. Next slide. So learning online, asynchronous, no set login times. Everybody likes that, works with your schedule. But there are deadlines and you have to maintain a good structure and pace. It helps to be disciplined. Collaborative, your faculty's there and fellow students, and you can reach them also. There's the no set time thing, which is nice. Receive individualized feedback from faculty, obviously feedback, critique, that's all an important part of learning. Each class is 8 weeks in length, and it's exciting because the start date here is October 6th, and you can plan on putting in about 15 hours of learning per week. So you want to schedule yourself and make sure that you've got some kind of structure going. Next slide. So a little bit about the weekly module structure, what it's really like to learn online. You'll have objectives. These will need to be achieved by you, the student. There's lots of great learning resources that we've compiled for you, and then we'll point you to a lot of others. And the nice thing about the online discussions is that you can really share these with your peers in the class. Discussion topics that, going back to that, where everyone contributes, so you'll be able to interact and share these things and engage with your instructor. And very practical assignments where you apply what you've learned and then get the instructor's feedback. And we really designed these so that you would come out of this class with a very nice portfolio and proof of what you've learned. So the portfolio and community, if you haven't seen We Are the Frontier, it's a fabulous web portal and you should see it. It's an interactive community for designers, so it really covers a broad area. You'll see everything from fashion to fine art to graphic design to animation. Pearl students will have access to the Frontier in their online classroom. Lots of added learning resources. So you'll also have access to a private portfolio tool hosted on the Frontier. And students can share their portfolio to receive peer feedback. So not only with your group, but with the larger audience, which is really great to be able to get as much feedback as possible. So why Pearl Live? Again, international students, subject matter experts, and great faculty from all over the world. Curriculum that focuses on the application of skills and really looking at what the workforce is looking for now. Again, access to Frontier, which is just a wonderful resource for the global design community, 24/7 technical support, and Pearl Live Mentor.
Okay, thank you so much, Linda, for that. We have a question here. So we have, let's see, so here's a question. How will this program help me become a good designer? I have ideas and vision and not really familiar with software such as Photoshop.
Well, software is just a tool, so obviously you'll be learning Photoshop in this class. There'll be a lot of resources for that. But if you've got ideas and vision, I mean, what we want to help you do is get that into a medium that you can show people, because that's what it's all about. So there'll be other tools other than Photoshop, and learning technology is easy. You just have to spend time there. It's like anything else. It's like riding a bike or playing an instrument. It doesn't take any special skills to learn technology.
Great. Okay. Also, are the classes synchronous or asynchronous?
The classes are asynchronous, I believe.
Yes. So again, as Linda mentioned earlier, there is no set login time. You don't have to be online at the same time as your instructors or your fellow students. It's asynchronous, but there is that structure and weekly deadlines to help you move through the content. And in many cases, the practical applications at the end of each module, they're building towards a larger project. And so keeping that structure, keeping that pace, and getting feedback at every step of the way really assists your learning. Okay. Next question. Does the program include access to required software needed to complete the projects?
Well, that's an interesting question, because it does not include like a license to the software, but you know, there's 30-day free downloads for the Adobe Suite, and then there's also a lot of other tools online that are free, which is exciting. If we're talking about the Autodesk tools, those are free to anyone in education. So you can download all of that for free. A lot of people don't know that, which is pretty exciting. And then there's a lot of freeware out there. If you want to do the Adobe Suite, which is a professional tool set that if you're going to move forward in this business you want to do, you can do a cloud version of it, which is actually very reasonable on a monthly rate. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get the kind of tools that you need to solve the problems in the classes.
That's great. All right, do we have any other, those are great questions. Do we have any other questions? So we got to thank you for answering the questions. Linda, any final words of wisdom? In terms of what you enjoy about working with students in digital design, or any other final thoughts?
Can you repeat that for me, Jennifer? I think I had a little internet glitch.
No problem. So we've responded to all of our questions from our participants, and I was just curious if you had any final words of wisdom for people who are interested in digital design.
Well, I'd say bring your curiosity and your passion, and we'll help you get it out there into a portfolio. I mean, I'm a big believer it isn't talent that drives creativity, it's curiosity and passion and interest. And we're all lifelong learners now, and technology is a completely surmountable part of our lives. We have to use it every day, all of us, and it's not a problem to learn. It's you need to come with the passion and the creativity. I've spent many years working in different areas, and when I first started there was no digital, and I've enjoyed getting up to speed and working with people and doing all kinds of different things, and that's what we want to do with this course, is help you get your ideas out.
Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone again. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Linda, for the presentation, and I hope this was very useful for everyone. Thank you very much, and
Great.
take care.
Thank you, Jennifer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.